Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick Newsroom, final season, episode 2, Run. John Iadarola, Brett Erlich, Alonso, Duralde. Let's have a look.
We're a team here. We're a family. But just to be clear, he's the one who did it.
A PR company killed 38 people. We do nothing, and the 39th is on us.
Good afternoon, Leona.
Leona's for friends and family. If you're trying to poach my company, I prefer Mrs. Lansing.
You've committed espionage. The FBI would take you in for questioning and not let you go until you revealed your source.
Oh. All right, any episode where Marcia Gay Harden and Jane Fonda are on, I'm like, yay. Okay, so that I'm already in for that.
That's most of the episode.
Yes, so that's definitely a plus. I do kind of feel like, and people that I've been talking to, like my boss at the Wrap was very excited about this episode, loved it, and just thought it was everyone. I know you were big on it too, Mr. I.
Watch it again.
I feel like that Sloan is turning into another Sorkin woman.
For sure.
Yeah.
She is Felicity Huffman, all the and the producer girl from Sports Night. They both like all that, like, I have nothing but nervous energy. And however, this is like a soft spot for me when it comes to girls. Like, I'm just like, yes, 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 give me more, give me more.
Wait, so I haven't watched previous shows of his, so what else goes into that
No,
definition?
I'm pretty much going off of this show because I haven't watched the other ones either. But, you know, that whole thing of like smart, capable, best in their field, and yet at the same time, big ball of wacky neuroses and, you know, like will trip over things if given the opportunity.
Yeah. Right. I don't know. I mean, I liked their little date scene. I think the food thing kind of went overboard a little bit, but it was enjoyable. Their conversation was fun. It was what we've come to expect in terms of how fast they were going back and forth and everything. But I even, like, the cheesiest sort of Newsroom season 1 and 2 style joke they did was getting into the elevator with Jim after yelling out, "What about the sex?" It was funny. It dragged on too long.
No,
it was funny. I liked that scene. I liked them testing each other. Like, it was a little bit of levity in an otherwise incredibly serious episode.
Here's what I like. I see battered elements of John Iadarola, because when you like something, you're kind of apologizing for it. You're kind of like, I like that scene. You know, I haven't said anything bad about it, really, but you know, I like it.
I like her. She was great.
I don't know if this was necessarily that heavy an episode. I mean, because even the corporate takeover stuff was very funny, I thought, and very
stuff.
Very
I mean
sharp.
more the deciding whether or not they're going to out the source.
Sure,
and
yeah, but then you've also got Maggie on the train, you know, which was, I thought was interesting in terms of, we were talking about this on the Homeland, when the idea of when somebody in one of these situations decides to do the right thing and the other person refuses to believe it. You know, that's the thing that happened on Homeland too. It was like, no, come on, really, what's your game here? No, I swear, I'm not running the story.
Great casting in that
Oh,
scene, because I love that actor who plays the guy who puts the
Jimmy
things.
Simpson, yeah.
Jimmy
Oh,
Simpson,
yeah.
and he's great. He's always great.
cards.
I mean, and what a great ability to go from like being the creepy guy and It's Always Sunny, like the really creepy dude, to, you know, the character that he plays in Zodiac. Like, that guy is really good.
If you've ever seen Debs, he's a lot of fun in that too.
Okay, I'd love to see it too. And then Toby from The Office,
who's also writing apparently this season.
Oh, he's great. He was a high-ranking executive on that show too. On The Office.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So he's a writer.
You know,
he's one
great.
of those writer-performers, and he did great.
I didn't interpret that scene the same way. Everybody's saying that they don't like what happened because she insisted on doing the moral thing and not using the information, and she got the great story anyway. I read it as he was desperately trying to leak information to her that would help him.
Yeah, when he comes back around, I
like,
guess
no,
I'll give you this
no,
story.
here,
It's
come on.
Don't throw me in that briar patch. Like, he's dying to give her this story, clearly.
That's the way I read it.
Also, there was a moment where she kind of proved her integrity to an extent. Like, you know, she did something wrong, realized it. He has trouble coming to terms with the fact that she actually believes it. And I thought the comedy in that was very well pulled off.
One of the best lines so far this season. It's like everyone I
work does monologues. Yes, I thought
that's a great.
That was a nice self-referential.
Yeah.
I will say that this is the best episode of this show so far.
Wow.
I will say straight up, and especially because it had so much to overcome. Because the central premise of the first few scenes, the theme he chose is all these people are bad at what they do.
They all
Go
fucked
through
up.
it. Like, you know, we got as soon as I heard the insider trading thing, I was like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah,
you're
necessary.
that stupid. And
made
then, I'm
$100.
leaking I caused someone to commit. I committed a felony and espionage and treason. That guy's an idiot. And just go through like, what's that?
The tweet.
The tweet. She's a total everyone's so incompetent.
But that was handled really well. I bought that whole situation,
and it happens.
and I loved her answer. Why would you do that? For the retweets.
Yeah.
Of course, that's why you would do it.
I mean, it was late or whatever. But because everybody was breaking the law, that's why I thought Alison Pill was going to get caught and be charged with something. I was like, apparently everybody is breaking the law.
I was wondering if this was all adding up to like something in terms of the corporate takeover. Like, we can't have any scandals right now, guys. And suddenly 8 of them are erupting, you know, all over the network.
Yeah.
And that's why I enjoyed it, because it overcame so many of those obstacles that it threw down for itself. And then if you go through like each one individually, it didn't necessarily do that thing I thought it was gonna do, because a lot of this seems trite and like Monday morning quarterbacking. I told you so. This was very easy to handle. I think then, you know, the subtle tweaks of like the insider trading turns into we're a couple. I like that relationship stuff, and I think we're taking turns away from. I like where we're going with the fictional country now, and it's less about like how good we are at the news, and now all the decisions are made regarding the relationships these characters have with each other, and that's what this show needed to do, and I'm glad
I think the show is at its best when it's dealing with fictional news stories.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
then because this can be a comment about Edward Snowden or any number of other stories involving government leaks or whatever, without them being like, well, here's how we would have handled it, because we'd be right, because we got to do it 2 years later after everybody else went through the shitstorm. So when it's fictional, at least you don't know how it's going to wind up. You don't know if the guy's telling the truth or not, as with the whole Genoa scandal, and you know, and they get to fuck up, which they don't do when they're doing a real story, and they just get to do it correctly. So you know, I do find that compelling. I was just a little annoyed by the sort of lady walks into a door stuff that Sorkin just can't stop writing.
Which I don't think, other than the food thing, I don't think there was any of that in this episode.
But I mean, so the way that Mac makes the case for covering the story.
Oh, the back and forth between them.
Yeah,
She's
some
an
of
idiot
that.
savant.
Some of that felt a little.
But she's right, and he eventually goes over to her position.
Yeah. No, and I like how he gets involved. I like how he's willing to take the heat for the team, how he knows that because of his fame and stature and whatever else, it's a bigger deal for him to say no to the feds than for poor Dev Patel.
Well, I also liked sort of that there was multiple callbacks to before he made the transition in the premiere episode. There was the one that calling him Punjab, which just like, oh my God, what kind of type of guy was this? But also
how does the HR not get involved? You know?
Exactly. But him defending the covert ops the way he did was both him like trying to cite as much history as possible, but also this is a guy who's not just, you know, he's not, I'm trying to think of a prominent liberal on TV. I can't think of one. But if there was one, he's not that. He does have sort of a mixed bag in terms of some of his previous beliefs.
He's not the Ed show. That's just like Al Sharpton.
Well, I mean, the whole first season, this was the fantasy football version of the Keith Olbermann show. Exactly, so you know, at least I think they're kind of making him into his own thing. I liked oh God, I always liked Kat Dennings. I like Kat Dennings.
Yeah, me too. I totally did.
And I really enjoyed the way they set this thing up in terms of it not being a big idea of, you know, the sort of soulless corporate thing. It was just like these two bratty kids, and this was this thing that their dads, they never gave a shit about. They stand to collect, you know, several $1 billion out of the transaction. I love that. I think that all of us at one point have wanted to ask the question, what can you buy for $3.2 million that you can't buy for $2.4 billion? Like, that's a very fair question.
I'll tell you what, an infinite, like a lot more once you've burned through that initial chunk of money. Like that's what I go to. I was like,
she says they're not going to do that. They're going to be super responsible. But yeah, like
I like the cast of like attractive other guy, like dopey version of what Reese. Dopey,
Kind of.
dopey
Yeah,
half
exactly, like the
Grease.
Bizarro
Yeah.
world version, who can't do math until it's about like $800 million, and then suddenly he's got that figure like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like they didn't reveal, like, some information had come in that they were all checking on their phones or whatever, so they know something. I don't know if it was a reference to what was going on with the leaks, but like she was so sure of herself, I have this money, I'm just gonna pay them the money, even though I feel like she could have bargained at least a little bit, like 1.5 maybe dollars for
sure.
share. That's still doubling their money. And then suddenly she doesn't have the money, they have no idea, they have to start asking lawyers if they have the money. So I don't understand exactly what I'm missing
that's
there.
a business tactic. Of course, in the room you're like, yes, no problem, fine, done, and then you leave and go, oh fuck, where's that money going to come from?
Right.
You know,
So
that's
essentially, and she's not asking for double the amount. They're not doubling how much you're paying the girl. It's $1, $2 more a share.
per share.
So it's just increasing the overall payment.
I thought they said from 85 to $1, pay $1 instead of 85, and she was like, I want 2. So I thought they were paying more than double. That's not the case.
No,
Okay.
it's just on a per share basis, but still, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
I like that. I love.
scene
I mean,
was
this
great.
is this is the right way to do that scene because it puts together like enough businessese that I get it.
Yeah.
Plus, like what's really underlying it. This is a way that like a sibling rivalry plays out with like, you know. Then you have Jane Fonda just kind of coming in and going like,
Here's how it's
going
gonna
to
be.
I'm going to lay down the law. Kids that are
And
not
they
really
rather
related.
effectively worked in all that exposition about the history of the company
Yeah,
in
that
a
was cool.
context where it would make sense, you know. And so
I like that.
I like the idea of, you know, national amusements or whatever it was, national theatrical. It's like, yeah, that's how these companies start, you know. And yeah, you buy some old radio stations and then you do this, and then that's where a lot of these conglomerates come from.
And
so.
my thesis statement about certain individuals being able to execute Sorkin, Sam Waterston.
Waterston.
Sam Waterston is one of those people who can pull it off, and I think
Yeah.
when Charlie, when he's going back and forth between drunk and sober, just like all those things where it's like your name is this and your name is that, and getting
That
it
was fun.
wrong,
Yeah.
like he pulls
bound
that
to
off.
happen.
Where I just think that sometimes when it comes down to Will McAvoy, I think those are a little forced, and he just doesn't have it.
When I was watching, I think like the first scene, I was thinking Brett's not gonna like this dialogue. When they were going back and forth about the 4th best law school and did you hate that?
I hated the
I
But
first
Marcia
10
Gay, Marcia
minutes
Gay
of it.
Harden can Sorkin the shit out of
Oh,
Sorkin.
she's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, Jeff Daniels needs a little work. I think a lot of it.
Doesn't have much time.
I just, yeah, there's a, well, there's,
He's tough. Pick it
right,
up.
but and there's not a lot of time with those lines, and he has the most. He's like Hamleting every time, you know, and everyone's got like
did
a
anybody
cool little
else?
part.
Did anybody else see Dumb and Dumber 2 this weekend?
No, but
Because
Yeah,
that
your
was
girlfriend's number one.
because that was a real mind fuck to go for 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
Like this guy can do everything. You know, that's
it
that's
good?
that's right. It's if
I heard that
people who
walkouts.
like that sort of thing will like that sort of thing.
Got you.
I
I'm fine
like
with
that
that.
sort of thing.
Okay, good. Well, I love the first one. Like I said, I just
Then
watched
you're
it.
in.
Really fast, 2 things.
And
One,
you're in.
what's that? And
I said you're in and urine.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
do we think the girl, the blogger, the Twitter manager or whatever, like she got really defensive about the idea that she might have purposefully done it because
Right.
she has an axe to grind or something? Do we think there's anything there, or was that just
no,
a throwaway?
I think that's a parallel to Maggie's decision. I think they're both actually doing the ethical thing, which
but
can.
sending the tweet in the first
No,
place
the thing
is
is,
out
the
of,
first was a huge mistake.
Yeah.
But in terms of how she stepped up and took credit for it,
Mm-hmm.
that was the ethical thing to do. Whether or not there's an upside to it later,
Yeah.
I don't think she had in mind. In the same way that I don't think Maggie had the upside of doing the right thing in
Yeah.
mind. She just wanted to do the right thing.
Okay, no, good transition to that. Considering that we're gonna have this major case, they just had their entire offices ransacked and everything. Do we think that EPA stuff is going to be anything other than like a throwaway side story? Like, is that going to actually end up mattering in the last few episodes?
I think they spent so much time on it this time around that they've got, I mean, I can't imagine all of that happening just to set up her dating the Fordham guy.
I hope not.
I would think that that's actually going to turn into a story as well.
And we might, at the very least, have the parallel of the way documents are leaked and comparing the two. Like, she got a document from an EPA guy who's trying to get a message across.
Right.
Juxtapose that against, like, the whistleblower trying to get a message across, and the relationship between the journalist and the source.
And also, maybe the show felt pressure to do something that allowed them to say, hey, you know, Obama's not doing a perfect job on every single thing.
Well,
You know.
also saying that the Senate Republicans haven't been confirming nominees for these incredibly important
True,
positions.
that's
a great thing
That's
historically to point
another
out.
gimme.
And the balance of what he's doing right versus what he's doing wrong. Sorkin as a writer, I think this one is way more in favor of what he's doing right. And so when the things happened that this is what he's doing wrong, I was willing to go like, whatever.
Even when this show annoys me, I'm in. I am absorbed and fascinated, and I want to keep watching it, even if I'm occasionally going, eh. But it's, I still want to see what the next thing is going to be and hear what the next bit of dialogue is going to be and the next performance. So yeah, this was definitely, I don't know if I'd say it was my favorite. I think there were some season 2 ones that I liked more, but definitely, top 5 for sure.
I wish Ben was here.
Dev on the run. Dev on the run.
Yeah.
Yes, that's going to be.
I loved that. When the FBI shows up, and Will's taking up his guns, and it's for a person.
And writing things in a menu.
Yeah, I thought that was really great.
Wait, I don't want to make this go longer than it needs to. I didn't understand the switch happened with that, though. I mean, the whole conversation was Dev is going to do the honorable thing, and he's going to, as a badge of honor, he's going to go to prison. And then all of a sudden, when he has Will on his side, he's running for his life.
Well,
why is he running?
I think he's vamping a bit so that it is not all happening now. It extends the thing. It puts Will in the firing line as somebody else who knows the name of the informant, and it gives them time to get their case together. And
I guess the case. I don't understand why he just doesn't go to prison and refuse to reveal
bring
the name.
the case to the public, which they might not be able to do if he's in federal custody because they might have some sort of gag order or whatever.
Okay, but he did get rid of the documents. Apparently, he smashed it.
Yes.
That's going to make it harder for him to.
He smashed his cell phone.
No, yeah, that's right. Yeah, he smashed his cell phone.
Okay,
So
he
now
still
he can't
has
be
the
traced.
Yeah,
documents.
because Marcia Gay
Okay.
Harden still has the flash drive, right?
No. I think we're supposed to
Dev
imply
has
that he
the-
had
Dev
it
has the
because
flash
the
drive.
thing was broken.
No
the
one
Office
knows where the
Depot.
flash drive is. We know that the desk has been broken into, so the flash
be
drive's
Will.
not in there. It might be Will with it,
Right.
but probably not. Dev might have, in a conversation we didn't see, say where he was going to hide it.
Who had
like
the key?
Will had the key.
And
All the
unlike
more
Will, we
reason to
can't remember
smash
this
it to
guy's
hide the
actual
fact
name.
that
We
he
keep
just
calling
used
him
the key.
Dev Patel.
Exactly.
Yeah. Punjab
Neil-
is still the whole
Neil-
thing. Neil.
Vander.
Neil.
No. Something.
Neil Patel.
I'm terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Neil-
All right, so hopefully we'll have Ben back next week because we're only 4 to go ever for this show. So
We'll see.
Join
Maybe
us next
another one.
week.